Hi, it's us.
Hello.
JT.
Yeah, I got it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Entropy Emporium. We are a primarily queer TTRPG collective. We stream games and sometimes other kinds of games. Maybe. I don't know. But welcome. This is God Complex. This is our Girl by Moonlight, Pacific Rim, Neon Genesis Evangelion type beat actual play run by Will here, who I will let do the rounds in a moment. But first, a few orders of business. First, if you like what we do, if you like what you see, and you want to hang out with nerds and stuff, we have a Discord, which I posted a link in at the top of the stream. But more importantly, we are helping out with a sort of mutual aid request. A good friend of the channel and a good friend of ours personally, Lion or Drake. I wasn't exactly clear on the name change personally, but they are raising money. Their family's raising money to help out with some emergency funds. We are, in lieu of our current charity drive, just pausing for this week to help spread word. For the next 3 streaming days, I will be posting this Ko-fi link with their permission to sort of share this around. If you can donate, please feel free to help out. If not, it's a mutual aid fund. Share it around. Tell your friends if you can. But yeah, one of our own needs help, and I'm just trying to put that around and put that out there for them. So that is kind of what this is all about. TTRPGs are community, and we are about community in our entirety. We couldn't do this without each other, so donate if you can. But I'm going to steal my introduction now so that Will can just go around to everybody else.
Gonna fuck up my entire order.
I'm gonna ruin your entire order. I'm just kidding. You can do it in whatever.
No. Go ahead. By all means.
I'm JT. I run this channel. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm playing Cogs. Time loop guy. Counting. I lost the thread immediately, by the way.
The time loop guy playbook.
The time loop guy. Time traveler playbook.
Yeah, the time traveler playbook. 100%.
That was so good.
That's what it's called.
That was so good. Do you pilot anything?
I do. Right. I pilot Carmente is the call sign. Hosta Verta is the god.
Hell yeah. Well, let's see. Do we want to give into the chaos and just popcorn? JT, you want to call someone out?
Yeah, I'll pick somebody. I'll pick Izzy.
I'm ready.
Gasp.
Hello, I'm Izzy. My pronouns are she, they. I'm playing Tolu Ajaka, whose pronouns are she, her. Tolu is the unlikely hero playbook and pilots the goddess Ocean, whose call sign used to be Queen Bee, but is now sadly Bumblebee because of meanness. And I will pick Youngles.
Hi, I'm Youngles. I do things on the internet, but today I'm playing Grace, who pilots Sangun / Carrot, which is great because today is also Korean Independence Day. So
true.
Happy Independence Day to all of my fellow Korean friends. I love you. And I'm very excited to be here. And that's all I got.
That is plenty. Who are you throwing it to?
Oh, right. I have to do that. I'll throw it to Logan.
Hello. My name is Logan, also known as Logan the GM. That's where you can catch me on most places on the internet. I am playing Chief. He and I both share the he/him pronouns. We pilot A&W, which A&W is a combination of 2 gods, Anubis and his brother Web of Wet, which is fun to learn how to pronounce. And I have the Guardian playbook, so I'm your sacrificial old man. I will make sure my friends don't die. But I might die, and I guess by this logic, who hasn't gone? Oh gosh,
Cass.
Oh, okay, then Cass. Jeez.
Chief is perpetually one day away from retirement.
Yes. I believe the quote is too old for this shit. Hello, everyone. My name is Kath. I am playing Troyan Moat, piloting the mech Ati, which is also the goddess's name. I am the outsider playbook. I don't think. Is there anything else I was supposed to say? I don't.
Probably not.
Okay.
I think that's
All right.
fine.
It's
Yeah.
fine. Don't worry about it.
I think you covered it. You ticked all the boxes. Hi. Hello. That just leaves me. My name is Will. I run this game and I do other things around the internet. I'll talk more about that at the end. But tonight, other than that, I'm going to be facilitating our play here. And I'll be stepping in as everybody else that these engine operators might encounter here in the far off future. Where we are going to begin with this session, after the fallout, literally the fallout of your last session, of your last mission, and your first mission that you all went on, sans your leader, at the very least, which was to retrieve his engine, which you unfortunately discovered. Or maybe fortunately, I mean, who knows, was empty. You never found a body. Were you raising your hand to ask a question, JT, or just...
No, you asked who knows.
Ah, yes, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I think a little bit of time has passed. A few solar days, which doesn't mean nearly as much out here, but is still tracked. Is still the basic unit of time measurement. And I think where I would like to begin before we get into our phases is with Grace. Because, Grace, you are perpetually having a difficult time sleeping. And it's been a while since the last time that you found yourself drifting off. A question I would ask you would be, is it something that Grace fights actively?
Like fight sleep or fights not sleeping?
Fights sleep, tries not to fall asleep.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Grace will distract themselves until there's no tomorrow, or do all of the things that, I'm sure the doctor has told them not to be letting their brain go right before they're trying to sleep, or trying to do their calming stay present exercises or whatever, but that doesn't really stop the nightmares. So
absolutely. And I think normally, I mean, that's a fairly effective tactic for you. You've developed a lot of different strategies to maintain that status, but every so often it just catches up with you. And I think you realize that is what has happened. I think you can hear alarms ringing all around you. You can hear the shrill alerts of the systems that are built into your engine, into Dangun. And they all seem to be going off at the same time. You can pick out from among them, your proximity sensor. You can pick out life support failing. You can hear a voice repeating these back to you. You can see through the viewport everything just sort of tumbling end over end as your engine falls through empty space with you at the helm. You can see the distant glow of laser fires, large shadowy objects moving through space. And you can hear chatter over your comms, people calling for help, other engine operators calling for help, calling for assistance. Someone yells, "It's got me," and then it cuts off with a crackle of static. And it all feels so real. Except this never happened to you.
Mm-hmm. Yet for some reason, I'm the one that wakes up screaming in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm. And it's unmistakably your engine. And it is unmistakably you in the pilot seat. But you don't remember this. And at the same time, it feels so real. And that is when you wake up screaming. And you realize, I think at that point, that there has been a little bit of a commotion at your door. You can hear the chime, the door alert of somebody basically having rung your doorbell going off. But now, I think in the aftermath of you screaming, you can hear somebody pounding on the door.
Grace is once again annoyed because not only is it annoying to constantly have these nightmares, but knowing that people might hear them is not great either. And that very much weighs on them as they unwillingly throw their blanket off and go open the door.
And the door slides open, and there is youngish person, maybe about your age, maybe honestly a little bit older, since Grace is on the younger side, standing there in like a flight suit, bears the insignia of their rank, they're a private, and you can see that their name tag, where it is displayed, reads C, the letter C, dot, and then Allers, Allers. And they see you standing there, and they throw a salute. They are clearly not an engine operator, so they are giving you the deference that most of the soldiers or the staff give to engine operators here on the Delphi. And they say, excuse me, operator, I came to retrieve you, and I heard screaming.
Oh, I was just practicing, because some, like when you're in a situation where an enemy and, I'm just a poor little girl, don't hurt, that kind of thing. Just practicing a little charisma. It's fine. It's fine. I'm okay. Look, see, everything's fine.
I can see that. That's a relief. It sounded very convincing.
Yeah, those acting lessons I took. Yeah, no, thank you. I will keep that in mind and see if I can repeat it. If you just hear me randomly screaming in the middle of the night, it's fine. You can just gestures to kind of you can just keep going about your duties, and I will be okay.
I'll be sure to make a note of that. And he does laugh a little bit, but he tries to stifle it. He tries to catch himself and resume his, military stoicism. And he says, I was just sent to ask if you'd be coming to the funeral.
Yeah. Yep. I will be doing that. That's right now or today or right now?
Yeah, right now. Right now, everybody's gathering, and
I will I will be there. in
Okay.
5 minutes.
Sure. Yes. And he'll throw you a salute, and he'll walk away.
And Grace goes and changes and then heads to the funeral.
100%. Are the rest of you attending Reed's funeral?
Chief absolutely is going to be there.
Am I allowed?
I mean, yeah, with Mason, of course. Cool. And yeah, so about 5 minutes later, Grace, you emerge from your room. You've kind of done what you can to make yourself look more presentable after waking up in a cold sweat. You make your way through the bows of the ship. There are a lot of different people heading in this direction, so you kind of just move with the flow of the crowd to arrive at the hangar, which is very, sort of typically where these ceremonies happen. These are not performed when people just sort of die naturally or die in the line of fire. It's very specifically for engine operators, and there is a very much definitely a performative aspect to them. They are broadcast throughout the fleet. It is a way of them kind of playing into this idea that you are tragic martyrs. And so when one of you dies, it is always a kind of a national event, so to speak, amongst the fleet. So when you arrive, you can see that it is way more crowded than it normally is. A lot of the catwalks are filled. People being very careful not to brush against the instruments or touch any of the consoles or anything like that. But all of the engine operators present are down in the bay, basically standing in front of their engines. Not necessarily at attention, not necessarily in dress uniform or anything like that, but they are just sort of standing by. And Kiernanos is in its bay, but obviously no one is standing in front of it, and it is dark. Symbolically, there is kind of a casket at the far end near the hangar doors. When the doors open, that's where that sort of blue force shield barrier pops into place to stop any of the oxygen from being sucked out, or any of the other engines to be sucked out. And so it's just on the other side of where that barrier will appear, ready to be blown out into vacuum. It is an empty casket. You all know that because there is no body, but it is made of metal, and it is made of plastic, and it bears, it is emblazoned with Reed's call sign. It is emblazoned with the emblem of Kiernanos, which, unsurprisingly, to probably all of you, is basically a rack of antlers. This is something that you would all have on the flight suits that have been provided to you. I don't think we've ever addressed what those symbols might be for each of you, but for Reed, it was the rack of antlers. And yeah, it's very clearly made for him. It sits there. Grace, as you take your position in front of Dangoon, the rest of you who are in attendance would see Grace come in a little bit late, slip in right before everything gets started. And shortly after you take your place, the General Swanson, walks out of the bay doors. He is in full dress, and he is standing very stiffly. He is standing very proudly to be the figurehead here for this ceremony. And while all of this is going on, I think it's entirely possible, Tolu, that the last time you were at one of these, you were behind the cameras that have been set up around the room to broadcast the ceremony.
For sure.
And that was when, or shortly before, Ocean chose you instead of the person that everyone expected it to. So that might be a little bit strange for you, standing here in front of everybody. Excuse me. General Swanson walks out. All noise, all conversation stops. The rest of you, it's up to you if you do this or not, but the rest of you see the engine operators bow their heads. And he starts to speak. There's a small device kind of strapped to like the side of his collar that amplifies his voice throughout the entire hangar, though he still projects it powerfully. And somewhat gruffly, he says, "We gather today to pay our respects to the engine operator known as Wild Hunt. He acquitted himself valorously, saved countless lives, fought tirelessly in an exhausting and endless war. And unsurprisingly, his last act, unsurprisingly to anyone who knew him, his last act was one of sacrifice. More importantly, he was my friend. And he was the friend of many of you gathered here. Reed wasn't a man who placed himself above any others. He wasn't a man who saw his calling as divine providence or destiny, but as something necessary, a torch that had to be carried by someone. He was willing to carry that torch, even though, in the end, it consumed him entirely. But, standing here before you today, I am relieved to say that his war is ended. And as one, everyone in the room says the second half of the phrase. Let him at last sleep. The general bows his head. The blue light flickers on to create the barrier. The hangar doors open just enough that the casket is sucked out into space. And then they close again. The general raises his head and continues to speak and says, I am happy to say that this is not only a day of mourning, for in the aftermath, someone must pick up the torch. And as tragic as Reed's passing was, I am proud to say that our very own... One second. I am proud to say that our very own Toby King will be carrying on his legacy and taking over as operator for Kiernanos. And I think at that, Toby walks out of the bay doors as well, pauses, General shakes his hand, and he takes up his position in front of Kiernanos where it's in its bay. And he makes direct eye contact with you, Tolu. Though his expression doesn't really change. He's just kind of staring you down.
It just coughs.
It sounds like a depth charge in the silence of the hangar.
Yeah, fair.
And the general says, for the rest of us, the war continues. And it waits for no man. With that apparently being the end of his remarks, he walks back into the bay doors, disappearing from sight, from camera sight. There's clapping, but it's a little bit reserved. There aren't cheers or anything like that. And people start to empty out of the hangar, return to their posts. I think amidst everybody filing out, Grace, you see Alairs, the person who came and got you, filing out with everybody else. Mason obviously doesn't leave your shadow, Troyan, but it's really just the engine operators left, and they kind of all mingle with each other a little bit, make small talk. Some of them are not sticking around whatsoever, but a lot of people are, walking over to Toby and congratulating him and shaking his hand. And what do the rest of you do? I assume you all want to congratulate Toby, so there's kind of a line, but if you stick around long enough, you'll get your chance.
I think Chief is going to... He's going to stick around to talk with some of the other pilots, some of the other operators that he's known throughout the years.
Yeah.
Who have gone on to other units whose machine he still services. And I'm going to, this whole time, take special note. I want to say I clocked this interaction between Tulu and Toby.
I think that's more than fair, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm feeling that a protective, I need to make sure my team is not going to be harmed by this. And I'm just kind of hanging back.
Okay.
But I'm going to send a message to Swanson. Swanson, right? Yeah.
That's the general, yeah.
Yeah. Just a question. What team is he going to be assigned to?
And you'll get a response, I am sure. But yeah, in the meantime, you can absolutely hang back. I think of the pilots that have stuck around, you really mostly recognize one of them. And that is a man whom you are very familiar with. Just need to get into these here notes one more time. Let's see.
How familiar are we talking?
I mean, probably pretty familiar. Like biblically, I don't know. That's up to you. But
we have Sunday school. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But somebody who you've probably fought alongside, somebody that you've probably served with. You've also been separated and assigned to other units. This is a man known as Windsor Marai. Win for short. And Win has been doing this for literally longer than anyone else. Win was one of the original engine operators.
Mm-hmm.
Win's call sign is Gungnir, and Win pilots Odin.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of a sort of a smaller sort of a smaller East Asian man, hair, like just a few strands of it remaining on his head. He's a little bit stocky. His flight suit doesn't quite like close over his gut comfortably, and I think you can see him like sort of just hanging out in front of you can see him sort of just hanging out in front of his engine with a flask in hand.
Can I go over and talk to him?
Absolutely, you can. I think that's probably actually a very sort of comfortable transition into our obligation phase. Since I think you might possibly feel an obligation to sort of, check in on some of the people that you know who are around. It's pretty rare for all of you to be gathered in one place like this.
Do you want to let other people do stuff before I do my obligation, or?
I mean, I think this would be... No, I think this would be pretty smooth. What is your lowest attribute?
Stars,
Stars.
So let's see.
Good one.
There's 0 in that, so.
Okay, cool. And this is social pressure or sets off your anxiety, so that's very fitting.
I rolled. This is what sucks when you have 0, because you have to roll 2 and you take the lowest, and I got a 6 and a 2. Yeah, so that's going to be 4 stress to just to kick things off. But hey, everybody's tracks reset, so could be worse. Could absolutely be worse. All right. So in this case, you want to go over and talk to Win. Yep.
What do you want to say?
I catch him with his flask, and I think I reach into my jumpsuit and I pull out a matching one, and it has like the original emblem of the team that we served on together all way back on all those years. It's a memento that both of us shared, that the team doesn't exist. We're probably the only 2 left.
Yeah.
And
the engines are around, the operators, not so much.
Yeah. And I go up to him and I tap his with mine, stand right next to him. We're leaning back against the rail of the catwalk.
Yeah.
And I go, how many of them have we buried now?
Whenever I catch myself wondering that question, I just think, not all of them.
Yeah. And I point to Toby and I go, there's another one. Ready to go into these giant god coffins.
Yeah. I don't like them.
Nope.
This wasn't ever meant to be a dynasty. They'll get comfortable, they get full of themselves, they think this means something other than a death sentence. They get sloppy.
I think the brass are getting beyond sloppy. I think they're forgetting what we're doing here.
Respectfully, Chief. Do you think they're getting sloppy? Or do you think some of that endless idealism inside of you is starting to burn away?
Two things can be true.
Tell you what I think. I think that the 2 of us are gonna die protecting one of these kids that they shoved into, what'd you call it? A god coffin?
Yeah. And I just turn around and I look at A&W. A god that has literally been fused together between two dead brothers.
Yep.
There's worse ways to go out than to protect someone. Reed was foolhardy, and I look at my team. At least we're here. At least we have a chance. And I don't question him for that. Don't think he made the wrong choice. I just don't know where we go from here.
I think they're getting younger. I think more and more frequently it's the old ones, the old timers, experienced who are dying. And then they pick another kid to put in the cockpit. But there's only so many of us that can sacrifice ourselves before that's all it is, just kids who don't know what they signed up for, who don't know why they're out there, what they're doing. I think that's how we lose.
Chief just takes a big sip from his flask, like he is bottoming it out. And then... Okay. Win. I'll catch you out there.
We'll see. Fly safe.
You too. Oh. Odin keeps on giving you trouble. Just let me know.
The engine or the person?
Listen, I'm a mechanic, not a psychologist.
I'll let you know if the engine acts up. You are leaving him standing there?
Yep.
Yeah. And stand there he does. He just sort of, stands in front of the mech, puts a hand onto its ankle, takes another drink from the flask. He just looks tired. Would anybody like to go next in their obligation phase?
I want to go talk to Tolu.
You want to go talk to Tolu?
I do.
Okay. Interesting. I'm thinking maybe that should be a downtime phase thing so that you can get links
Yeah.
from it.
Well, I really just have a single question for Tolu.
We have text
I just
devices.
wanna wander
Can you
up
just
and ask
shoot
the
me a
question.
text?
You could shoot a text. You could also track Tolu down, but I think the downtime. Yeah, I think that would be a downtime phase thing. Let's save that for the downtime because I don't think that's an obligation for Troy, and in the way that it's like it feels like an obligation for Chief.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if Tolu feels an obligation related to Toby
Oh, for
or
sure.
that interaction.
Yes, absolutely that.
Okay. So before we get into that, what is your lowest attribute? And so that'll be sun, moon, or stars, the first column of your actions list, whichever category has the lowest.
That would be stars.
Also stars, which makes sense because puts you under social pressure or sets off your anxiety. So you're going to roll whatever you have in stars, however many dots are in that first column.
Which is none. So I roll 2 and take the lowest, right?
Exactly.
That's a 5 and a 1 for a 1.
which is going to be 5 stress to start with.
Woo! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome.
Hell yeah. And yeah, I mean, you see all of the different operators that are like kind of swarming over to Toby and congratulating him and shaking his hand. What do you want to do?
Yeah, Tolu's gonna wait in line and just wait her turn for that.
Sure.
And when she eventually gets up to him, just be like, Toby, with Tobster, big T. How's it going? T-O-T to the O to the Toby, and then just like give him a gentle punch on the arm.
And there is, I think, another operator that he was in the process of talking to, but you are that particular entrance, an engagement is impossible to ignore.
Yeah.
Which is what he was probably going to try to do if you spoke to him. So he kind of just like sighs and closes his eyes, and you kind of feel both him, you kind of feel the weight of his gaze and the other operator's gaze as they turn to look at you. They're just kind of like staring daggers at you.
Hey, besties, what's going on? Just came to I didn't know. Congrats. Hey, I guess it all like worked out, huh? Is it too soon to joke about that? Or is that not?
You guess it all worked out.
Because I thought maybe there was some tension around it doesn't matter. Hey, congrats, right?
You stealing my father's engine?
Okay. So, okay.
You
this
thought
is
there
good.
was tension about that?
Right. Yes, that is what I thought. Way to read the room. I see now that there is no tension. And I was wrong. And stealing feels like a strong word, right? We both just kind of ended up here.
I don't know what else I would call it.
Right. Okay. Fair.
Do you know how many generations Ocean has been piloted by my family?
Seems like something you should know. Why you don't know why you're asking me?
Since the beginning.
Right. Yes. And that is so great for you all. Wow. What a legacy.
Do you need something, Ajaka?
Oh gosh, no. I wanted to say congrats. You made it. Woohoo. Yeah. So are we like cool now?
You know what? Yeah, we're cool.
Interesting. Because you're saying yes, and I'm getting a distinct hint of not cool.
No, listen. And he holds out an arm, like in the to initiate an arm clasp with you. It says, "No hard feelings. We're all on the same side."
And Tolu goes to initiate a fist bump instead. Just coming at you, big guy.
And he will fist bump you, but he will take a big step into your personal bubble. Close enough so that he can say quietly, "You're not good at this. You're not trained for this. You're gonna die. And this is just a temporary stop until I take Ocean from you." But hey, good luck out there.
And I think Tolu just kind of stands there, like doesn't have a response for that. These are sort of all of her fears that she's had, like, oh, someone said the quiet part out loud. Cool. So it just stands there for a second, kind of staring, waiting for it to be like a joke or something. And when he shows no signs of recanting, shoot, I just heard my bed isn't made. I should gotta do. Bye.
Yeah. Hey. I'm sure you're gonna sink one of these days.
And then she's gonna turn and then turn back and be like, fuck you, bye. And then leave.
Fantastic. Incredible. I think that is kind of a excuse me. I think I do want to popcorn back over to Cass, because I do think that if you stick around and try to do anything, Mason is just kind of going to clear his throat from behind you.
Mason, you may have been the guard that's lasted the longest, but just let me sit here and enjoy being out of the box, please.
You aren't cleared for being out of the box. Especially not after... I mean, don't make me say it.
I ate a mech. Yeah, that one, actually. Do you like that little twerp, Mason?
Operator King is a respected
Yeah, no, that's not what
part
I
of the
asked.
war effort,
That is not what
part
I
of a
asked
long and proud tradition of engine operators.
He's got a face that makes me want to punch it.
Troyan, what is your lowest attribute?
Moon.
Nice. Roll it for me, if you'd be so kind.
Roll 2, take the lowest because I got no die.
Yep. That is how this usually goes, until you buy up some.
Guys, we are consistent as fuck tonight. 5 and 2.
Ooh.
4 stress. Mark down that 4 stress, baby. And it's a moon, so your obligation breaks your heart and drives you to despair.
Yeah, I think she is feeling Ahti, feeling like, oh, I didn't get to finish my meal, and it's right fucking there. And then I think she watches Tolu storm off, obviously upset at whatever Toby just said to her. And she just realizes how many of these kids are going to be dead and how many of them won't be able to come back like she did. And I think she looks over at Odin, or at Wynn, and up at Odin. And all the anger just leaves her for a second. She just looks at Mason. Did you qualify for operator training?
I was not selected. I was tested, of course, everybody is, but I opted for a specialist track.
Who'd you lose?
I mean, none of them responded to me. Cass, remind me in the document, if you put this down, did you put down your partner's mech?
Zeus.
when I was tested, Zeus was available. Didn't pick me.
I look around the bay. Is Zeus in here?
Zeus is in here.
What happened to Zeus's pilot?
Same thing that always happens, the same thing that we're told.
Who was Zeus's pilot?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Who's piloting Zeus now?
Gates Keel?
Gates Keel. All right. All right. Come on,
Between
Mason,
the
I'll get
two
you
of
next-
us,
No, say what you're gonna say, Mason. I'm avoiding emotion.
between the two of us, I don't know what happened with the pilot who died. But I know that nobody talked about it. And I know that they changed the call sign. Almost like they were trying to make them disappear.
Bet you never heard of the Lido engine either.
He shakes his head slowly and says, I haven't.
She was mine. Before.
Ma'am, I'm not sure I'm cleared to hear the rest of that sentence.
No, you aren't. But I like you, Mason, so I'm not gonna make you have to lie about it either. Can I go talk to him? And I point at Wynn. Just for a second.
I'm supposed to get you back to the box.
Does anybody really expect you to be able to stop me?
Let's hope we never have to find out.
Extra french fries.
I'll see what I can do.
No. For you, let's go get some.
After you.
I think she does, just for funsies, wait for Toby King to walk by and just make Ati twitch.
He jumps. Yeah, for sure. For sure. If your weird shadow cannibal mech twitches, he's gonna jump like away from it and like look at you with very like shocked eyes.
And I think she will do like the full like creepy doll thing, like and maybe her head bends like her neck bends just a little too far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like shakes his head and walks out. Between Grace and Cogs, who would like to go next in their obligation roll?
I'm okay either way. If
I
Well,
already
ye-
did something, so you should go.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
So what is your lowest attribute?
Son.
Love a sun. Love a sun. Go ahead and roll it. I'm assuming it's going to be 2d6. Take the lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of super is. Cool. Well, at least there was no hope. I rolled a 2 and a 1.
Okay. All right. So 5 stress. But if sun is rolled, your obligation involves scary people or circumstances or is physically taxing.
Cogs, I think for the most of the funeral, was stillest you've ever seen them. Except for when they marked something down in their notebook when they can't count out loud. And then as soon as the official funeral was over, would have tailed out immediately after General Swanson.
To speak to General Swanson? Or just by coincidence?
No, yeah, to speak to General. They are after Swanson.
Okay. And I don't think it takes General Swanson long to realize that he is being followed as he makes his way back to the bridge. So he kind of like pauses. He doesn't look over his shoulder or anything, but he pauses and says, "Do you need something, soldier?"
Don't call me that, please. Forgive me for speaking out of turn, but I found it works best with you. Do you really think putting anyone in that suit so soon is a good idea?
Do you really think that we can afford to have empty engines sitting around?
I actually know for a fact whether or not we can afford that.
Well, we aren't also blessed with your foresight. Some of us have to make do with the information available to us and what you are willing to share. So by all means, caution me.
Not really a caution, more of a promise, but you have Tobias King lugging around what is effectively 20-so-odd tons of steel and flesh that doesn't have a way to be controlled. You're either begging to end a dynasty, or you are hoping that Toby King is as talented as he seems to believe he is.
In point of fact, I was not the one who ended that boy's dynasty.
In point of fact, I disagree. I think that you guys are desperate, and you're showing it, which is arguably worse than being desperate and not showing it.
I won't stand here and ask you questions about math, because I'm sure you've already done the calculations. I'm sure you already know I'm sure you already know all of the answers that I might ask you about. But do you know what the population is this year? Do you know how few it is compared to last year?
It's the same amount few as it was last time and every time before that.
To you.
Correct.
For me, for the rest of us, trapped here in our doomed present day, it's less than it's ever been. And it's getting smaller every day. These are not conditions that the human race can continue to live in long term. We will go extinct. Not because of monsters eating us or destroying our worlds, but because people are giving up.
With all due respect, sir, from every possible warning I could give you, putting Toby King in a dead engine is as much giving up as anyone else has done.
Then tell me what's going to happen. Tell me what's going to happen and maybe I'll listen. But as long as you are giving me veiled information and cryptic warnings, you're wasting your breath, soldier.
It is hubris to think that the way that you see things is everything there is. I am telling you what I can without ruining it.
You were right about one thing. I am fucking desperate.
What a luxury that must be.
You got something I can use or not?
Just thinly veiled threats, as you called them.
Then stand by at your post, operator. We'll need you soon.
I know exactly when you'll need me.
What a luxury that must be.
You try attending the same funeral 2,418 times. It is not a luxury to know that.
I think we'd all be lucky to live that long.
I don't think I'm living anymore.
Well, that sounds like something you should take up with your assigned mental health professional.
I hope you're willing to do the same.
I've enjoyed our exchange.
You don't have to lie to me.
As you were.
I don't think Cogs salutes or anything. I think they just find the nearest open ventilation shaft and...
He does not wait to see if you salute, so... There you go. Grace. I think you're muted.
Did Grace hear what Toby was saying to Tolu? That's my only question.
That's a fair question. And I will leave it up to you, but I will just stress again that I think the interpersonal conversations, like everybody can like rally and support Tolu, but you should get some links for doing it. So we should do it in the downtime phase.
I want to punch. That's okay. I'm not
Do
gonna...
you want to punch Toby King?
I kind of do. I kind of...
What's your lowest attribute?
Grace. I'm gonna be such a problem. I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize.
I have 1 in Sun and 1 in Moon. Those are my lowest. Like I have 1 in Empathize, and then like 1 in Forgive, and then like 1 in Conceal.
And you have 2 in Stars?
If I count my Transcendent, right?
You don't.
No, I have
it's
1.
the first column.
No, I just have 1. I have 1, 1, 1. I think.
Okay, so you have 1 in each of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, then I think that's fair. I think given what you've described, we might be looking at Sun. If you're trying to like deck Toby King, at that point, I'm absolutely fine with saying that you overheard what he said to Tolu. or possibly even maybe just that you read his lips, since he was like whispering and trying to be sneaky about it. Maybe that's a thing that Grace can do. We've never established that.
I feel like Grace is somebody, having been what they've been through that
Yep.
nobody knows about yet, is very hyper aware of other people's emotions, especially people that they're friends with.
I
and
agree.
seeing
Yeah,
Tolu leave the way they
Ooh,
did,
that's really good. Yeah. No,
Grace,
100%.
I think, would just automatically assume that Toby was some kind of asshole. And
100%.
since Grace has kind of a little bit of like anonymity, not anonymity, what's it called? Immunity when it comes
sure.
to getting in trouble. It probably isn't the first time that they've just walked up and decked somebody.
Yeah, no, I think that's super fair. I think it's awesome. Yeah, you were standing in front of Dangun and you were kind of just taking everything in, and you saw Tolu go over to have that conversation with Toby, and while you don't know exactly what Toby said, you saw the way that Tolu's expression changed
Yes.
throughout that exchange. And it's very obvious to you that whatever he said was probably pretty fucked up.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now I want to punch him.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
So Tolu walks away from that conversation. He continues sort of talking to the person that he was talking to. And then eventually they're going to start walking in tandem towards the bay doors out of the hangar.
Uh-huh.
What would you like to do?
Can I argue that I'm empathizing with Tolu? So
Oh, to deck him? I wasn't going to make
Yeah.
you roll. I don't think he's
okay.
expecting this at all.
Yes. All right, that's even better.
yeah.
Then yeah. So Grace sees Tolu walk away and is like, and then like walks up and just taps him on the shoulder and then just like decks him right in the face.
Yeah, he turns around and he's like, what do you want? And then you just cold cock him
Mhm.
across the face. I need you to roll 1 die for your
Okay.
obligation roll.
I got a 1.
All right. So that's going to be 5 stress.
Okay.
So I think what that means is you punch him in the face, you deck
So
him,
stressful.
and he is completely caught by surprise. He like goes down, but immediately the person that he is walking with, who is a femme presenting person of about the same age, she has like black hair that is cut very close to her scalp, but she has these very sort of cold, calculating eyes, and like before Toby hits the ground, she has a like sidearm, like her issued sidearm out of her holster, and it's pointed directly in your face. Grace.
I think Grace is one of those people that laughs when she's nervous and scared. Like, because yeah, they'll probably get out of it, but there's always some chance that they're not going to. So Grace immediately puts their hands up and is like, "Are you really gonna shoot me? Me? You're gonna shoot me?"
Not unless you give me a reason.
I didn't punch you. I promise not to punch anybody else. But I do know my father would be very upset if I got shot.
They consider
Especially at a funeral
that. They
of
consider
my
that.
former leader. Just a little sad. I don't know what happens.
They consider that, and they put the sidearm back in the holster as Toby stands up, and he kind of like rubs at his jaw a little bit. I don't think like he's significantly larger than Grace, so it was more out of surprise than anything that he went down. But like he stands back up and he looks at you, and he I think there is disbelief on his face, and there's disbelief on his face. There is anger there as well. The disbelief is slowly giving way to the anger, you can tell. And he like looks at you and he says, You're as crazy as everyone says you are.
Guilty. Don't make my friends cry. I don't care who you are.
I don't see how it's my fault if she's not tough enough to hack it.
You kind of just got here, technically. So out of the two of you, as far as I'm concerned, Tolu's the better pilot.
That's ridiculous.
Also, though, being one of these is hard enough without all of this, I don't know, penis contest you have going on. So maybe you already have the rank. You don't have to prove you need the rank. And you won't get punched as often.
Sure. You know what? Maybe you're right. I don't think that I have anything to prove to anyone on your reject squadron.
Good. Then I don't have to hear about you ever again unless I have to. So we cool?
Yeah. We're cool. He says in a way that very much indicates that you are not cool.
And Grace takes it, because what else is she gonna do? I kind of like dusts a little off his shoulder, and is like, "Don't worry, you'll get used to us." Because I don't know if you noticed, but we were the ones that came back alive. So, okay, bye. And then Grace turns around and goes back to her.
With that line, as you are walking away, and this might be where some of the stress comes from, as you're walking away, he calls back towards you and says, "Oh, then I guess I have you to thank."
And Grace just stops.
Because I wouldn't be standing here, an engine operator, unless you'd managed to get your commander killed.
And she takes a deep breath. And she's like, "He's not worth it. He's not worth it. You already punched him. He's not worth it. He's not worth it." Yeah, but like, what I have to lose? And she turns back around. And she's like, "Look, maybe we got off on the wrong foot a little bit, you know, because I didn't have to wait for somebody to die to get my position. So."
And he narrows his eyes at you and says, "You sure about that?"
Yeah. What do you mean?
Nothing. I just,
Why wouldn't I be sure about that?
I've just heard some things, some stories. You know, my family's been doing this for a long time. It's probably nothing. You're right. Yeah. You didn't have to die to get your position.
And there's something about that like triggers like just complete disassociation happens, and Grace falls not fully into the nightmare, but starts hearing like noises and the screaming, and it starts getting like louder and louder and louder, and everybody starts like fading away. And if it's okay, I'm pretty sure that causes like just a bit, like, because no one's ever confronted Grace about any of that before. She just like collapses.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. And I think you feel yourself hit the ground. You feel like someone shaking you. You hear a voice as someone is saying your name over and over again. When you start to like clear, when you start to come back to yourself. You don't know how much time has passed. Toby and the other person are gone. But it's that same soldier from before, Alairs, who is shaking you with a concerned expression on his face.
As Grace comes to and sees him, she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing."
Are you okay?
Would you believe me if I said yes?
I mean, technically, I don't have a choice. You outrank me, but no. Probably not.
I guess collapsing on the floor in the middle of a funeral is not very demure, very mindful, so...
God damn it.
makes
I knew
sense.
that was gonna... I knew. I was like, somebody's gonna bust that out real soon in one of my games.
Me.
Yeah.
And Grace just kind of like is laying there and is like, all right. Well, I guess it wouldn't be too weird to tell you that I have nightmares.
I gathered that much, but I also just sort of assumed, I mean, you're out there fighting these things up close. Honestly, I'd be more surprised if you didn't.
That's fair. And Grace will like reach up a hand to like motion to like have you help her up.
Yeah, and he will. He will help you up.
Okay, and then she gets up and she's like, well, right. Everybody has them. They're just funny little dreams, right? Yeah, that trigger in the middle of whatever time it is now. I'm gonna go.
Understood. To the med bay to get checked.
Yeah. That's where I'm going. That's where I should be going. That's correct.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Okay. Right. And Grace will just like walk off slowly in dismay that they just collapsed in the middle of the funeral ending. And head to the med bay because someone will probably follow them and find out that they're not going there if they don't.
I mean, Alairs isn't going to follow you. He's just kind of going to watch you go. He's going to give you another salute before you do. He's just kind of going to watch you go. And yeah.
Okay.
Very cool. And I guess we'll probably just take a break given the time before we get into our downtime phase so people can start thinking about what they want to do. You have 2 downtime actions each, except the Harmony, I want to say, has an extra one, right? One of them? Okay. Oh, it's the Unlikely Hero. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So you have an extra downtime action. The rest of you have 2. You can spend them on, I don't think any of you are injured after the fight. You can help a friend recover. You can make a connection, which is how we build links. You can work on a long-term project, or you can help prepare the last bastion, which is the Delphi and the Citadel fleet. And that is also the downtime action that lets you ask questions and do some investigating about stuff in the world. But yeah, consider that. We will be back in about 10 minutes, so don't go away. See you real soon.
But
It's
yeah,
your
Mal
show.
is the same
Got it.
way. She has zero fear. She's climbed into the dryer. She routinely climbs door frames and then jumps on me in the middle of the night. She's a black cat, so you definitely can't see her.
Yeah. When I was a
Wow.
librarian, when I worked in public libraries, one of the things that we would do is we would issue pet licenses. You could do that from the library. And there was one day when I was very new in my position that a woman came in, and normally, as you might expect, you do 1 or 2 of them at a time. It's pretty straightforward. One day that I was working, a woman came in and she had about 60 that she needed to get. And it was specifically because she was like a cat hoarder, and either she had to like become a registered animal shelter, or the city was going to take her cats away from her. And so she needed to have them all registered before she could try to become like an actual pet shelter. And I just sat with her for like an entire shift and did pet licenses.
Jeepers creepers.
Yeah, it was wild.
I mean, at least you got the practice in on how to do it.
I was easily the most experienced person in that branch at doing pet licenses by the end of it.
Nice.
But yeah. Moral of the story is, don't try to become an animal rescue if you just want to have a lot of cats. That's not responsible. But anyway, we can get back into it.
Hi, everyone in chat.
Oh, hi guys.
Hello,
Yeah, we're back.
everyone in chat.
What is up,
Hello,
gamers?
everyone in chat.
I do appreciate deeply the last comment is not a penis
I was
contest.
just going to say that, not a penis contest.
But he was.
But they were right, and they should say it.
There we go.
Cool. Well, let's dive right back on into it. So speaking of our interpersonal relationships, a lot of people wanted to talk to Tolu.
Oh my god, you guys.
Definitely did not think that's what you were about to say. It's like, speaking of our penis contest?
Speaking of our
Speaking
penis
of our
contest,
penis
a lot
contest.
of people wanted to talk to Tolu.
Grace is ready.
Yeah.
Either way,
I mean-
whatever we're doing, like, ready.
Yeah, I do think that that's probably a pretty logical place to start with the downtime actions, specifically because you just punched the guy that was mean to Tolu, and now if you want, you can try to track them down.
Who's tracking who down?
Well, it sounded
Tolu.
like Grace was probably going to go looking for Tolu, since I don't think Tolu knows what went down between Grace and
Yeah.
Toby.
Although she would have thoughts and feelings about it if she did.
Yeah, I believe that. And I can't wait to discover what those thoughts and feelings might be.
Mhm.
So we got to start with somebody. Jen, if you're cool with us starting with you,
Sure.
it sounds like you are making a connection. So I guess the question here would be, because this is going to determine where this exchange is taking place, where does Tolu go after that?
Tolu goes
Horrible.
to the gym.
Very cool.
Would that be near the med bay? Close to it? Far away from?
I mean, that makes sense, right? The gym being near the med bay, that makes sense to me.
As a person who has
Um,
been moved from a gym to a med bay before, you got to keep them next to each other.
You got to
Got it.
keep them next to each other. Yeah,
You know
that's
that,
true.
right? It's fair.
That's true.
Okay.
Um,
So then Grace, on her way to the med bay, not really, would probably know that Tolu hangs out at the gym.
Well, I mean, if you're on your way to the med bay and the med bay
Or
is
I
near the
just
gym, then it's
see
easy to
them.
say, it's easy to say, I think you walk past the gym and you see Tolu in there. Tolu, are you working out, crying, some combination of the two?
Oh
We've
yeah,
all been
it's
there.
definitely it's a jog and cry, and she's
Sure.
she's on the treadmill, sprinting.
Yeah.
I walk up. I don't want to startle you because you're running. That's scary. So because I don't like running, and I just put my hand in my pocket and take out some tater tots and put them on like the thing, the track thing,
Yeah.
whatever the thing is on the thing, where the numbers go, and put them there. And I just wait.
The way I was prepared to take out just a loaf of bread. I'm like already in my head. I was like, yeah, and we're just gonna split a loaf of bread, and then you got there first. I think Tolu sees this like tiny tater tot offering and looks down and immediately like slams like the big red stop button on the thing.
Yeah.
And kind of hops off much more gracefully than should be allowed. Just, hey, oh my god, tater tot, how's it? Woo. What is up? And will like reach behind her as casually as she can. And take a tater tot, and while she's doing that, just kind of like scrub her face with that on arm. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sweaty today. My eye region is really heavily sweating."
Yeah. Well, running is sweaty.
It is fair. But you want one of these tater tots? They're pocket warm.
Yeah. No, I had
Got
some
the Mac thumbs up.
I just saw that.
on the way.
Mac, Mac released this patch that's like there are now gestures hard coded
Is that
into the
why
system.
it does that?
Yeah, where if you do certain gestures, that
Oh.
like if you do the peace sign, something happens too. I don't remember what it is.
No, wait for it. Oh,
Yeah, there it is. Balloons.
Balloons. Oh, that's so interesting.
Yep. And that's just built into your camera. It doesn't
That's
matter what program
wild.
you're using, right? That's what
that's
I'm saying.
wild.
And they turned that on and they didn't tell anyone.
Oh man.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. Technically, the Mac interrupted.
The Mac did
That's
interrupt.
true.
Technically.
true.
So Grace, I ate some on the way. I saved those ones for you.
Oh, thanks. Preach.
Yeah, I know you're sweaty, but it looked like whoever that guy was contributed to your need to run.
Oh, Toby? Yeah, he's
That's his
fucking-
name? Toby?
I know, right? That's what I said. I was like, how are you even going to be like named Toby right now in whatever year it is? Anyway, harmless. He's just here doing his thing, I guess, being all in mech now. So that's cool. I hope we don't have to hang out with him more. He's kind of lame.
Well, about that, I don't think he's gonna want to hang out with us at all because I may have gotten a little upset and I might have decked him in the face.
Did what? And I missed what? Okay. Play by play immediately. I need every second of every.
So
okay.
I just walked right up. I don't know what happened. I couldn't hear what he was saying. All I saw was that you were all excited and then you were very much not excited. And so then that really made me mad. And you know, I haven't really been sleeping. So anyway,
Sure.
so I walked up. I was all like, tapped him on the shoulder, you know, and then just bam, right in his face. And then he fell to the ground.
I have the coolest best friend on the planet. It is wild. And then they think she's going to initiate their super complicated like handshake that they
Yes.
have.
Yes.
But I imagine it's similar to the one from The Parent Trap, the 1999 version. Yes, and the spin and the jump.
Yep. Cool. I love
I'm
that.
so sorry I missed it.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, it would have been. I'll see if I can get one of the security guys to get me the footage because there's got to be footage of it somewhere. Someone
I'm
has
sure
it.
there has.
Yeah.
I bet we have multiple angles too.
And then, I got a gun pulled on me.
Who pulled a gun on you?
Oh, the one that follows that follows the Toby around now. I guess I don't know what anybody's name is because I do not need to pay attention. But gun, like, okay. First of all, I punched him in the face. He was mean. He deserved it.
Overreaction for sure.
Second of all, what is she going to tell my dad?
Right? That you got shot at a funeral.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right. Honestly, even Doctor Guy,
Dr. Haynes.
Dr. Haynes,
Dr. Guy.
yeah, would totally
Dr.
vouch
Guy.
for me because I'm, a little crazy. So like, what is she gonna like? What is shooting me gonna do? It's just gonna cause them more problems.
Totally. Oh, you're so cool. So, hey, about the no sleeping thing, how's that going?
Oh, that private guy might have heard me screaming in the middle of the night. Maybe.
Cool.
Yeah, it was fun. I told him I like to do it for fun, just to pretend. And
Awesome.
and then I collapsed after I punched Toby, and then he found. So we have a great relationship now because he's now seen me scream my head off in the middle of the day when I was supposed to be here, and now also I collapsed after that. So
Sweet.
yeah.
Do you want to go find some ice cream?
That sounds like a way better idea than going to the med bay. So yes.
Totally.
Hell yeah.
They have ice cream
And-
here. Can we go find ice cream?
Yeah, for sure.
As
There's
a
the
friendship
commissary.
bonding time?
The commissary
Yeah.
definitely has a soft serve machine. Yeah, absolutely.
Commissary.
100%. So it does sound like you are both making a connection here. So you'd
So
both be
connected.
spending, yeah, so you'd both be spending a downtime action on that. And then tell me what it is you want to roll for your action. Ow, Jesus Christ.
How do we decide that? Is it the lowest one again, or do we get to choose one?
No, it's whatever you want. It's whatever you want to, whatever you think exemplifies the way that you just interacted with each other.
I think I'm going to go with sun and empathize.
Oh, this is those are attributes. Empathize,
no.
yes. Empathize is an action. Sun is your attribute. So,
Got it.
but yeah, you can absolutely roll empathize.
And I roll one dice, right? Because I have one.
If that is how many dots you have, yeah.
Can I also empathize?
We're so empathetic right now.
Yeah. Very autistic coded. Very demure. I got a 6.
Nice.
Okay.
I got a 3.
Fantastic, cool. So, Tolu, you were going to mark down that you have 2 links with Grace. Grace, you were going to mark down that you have 4 links with Tolu.
Nice. So bonded.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say right now that I think Tolu has on like some sort of mirror. I assume she has a mirror in her bunk cabin wherever they stay.
Yeah.
With like a little post-it and a hand-drawn picture of a tater tot and a piece of toast just like dancing in the rain.
Yes.
My dude.
Love toast.
I love toast. Toast is what I'm having for dinner
Toast.
tonight.
Wait, if you two can I go like the tater tot toast team? Like, come on,
Aw,
Bread
tater
gang.
tot toast team.
carb
Tater
carb
toast.
buds.
I
Carb
actually had toast for
buds.
dinner, so
Love
Actually
toast
sounds pretty
for dinner.
good. Hi.
Mhm.
Technically, never mind. I don't want to dox JT.
No, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I was gonna say technically any toast you have is Texas toast, but
I don't live in Texas right now.
you're not.
No,
You were, right?
wasn't.
You've never been in Texas.
I mean, I visited Texas briefly like a couple of months ago
Why did I think you were in Texas?
because I was part of the list of moves that I'm making.
Okay, that makes sense.
Also, Texas
Anyway.
is massive. It's not really a dox.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
light
I
doxing.
don't
you,
know.
you pointed to what is essentially like 4 small countries put together.
Yeah, but I didn't want to I don't know. Okay, I just wanted to be safe.
No, I appreciate it.
Aw, safety.
Yeah. Well, since JT, since you have so many things to say about what I'm saying, do you want to do a downtime action?
Yeah, I do. I'd like to.
I had a feeling.
This might not be what you were expecting. I would like to pry into some top brass business.
Ooh, that sounds like making preparations.
That's exactly what I was hoping you would say.
Yeah, how do you want to do that?
Cogs has grown really familiar with the ship, and especially due to the nature of their little hideout, has grown familiar with the ship's ventilation systems. And so is just kind of hanging out near the vents where the top brass would either be talking or would be away long enough for Cogs to just kind of have a little peek in their computer, if possible.
That makes sense. Also, there's a thing that I forgot that I have to do because the Bastion, so the Delphi is kind of its own organic, semi-organic place, which means that it gets downtime actions. Things can happen autonomously of the rest of you while here on the Delphi. So I have to do that. Let's see here. The Bastion performs a number of downtime actions equal to the current Leviathan tier, which is tier 1, rolling a number of dice equal to the current Bastion track tier, which is tier 3. See what we get. Okay, cool. So we are upgrading the flagship. We are making progress on a long-term project for upgrading the flagship. So if you'll direct your attention to the second On a Sea of Stars sheet in our Google Sheet here, we have to decide which upgrade y'all are most interested in having come about first. So your options, since we're just branching off from the command bridge, we have extended berths, which can store additional engines. There's the observatory, which can add to recover engine and hunt Leviathan missions. There's the training facility, which you can spend downtime actions to gain 2 XP in Sun. Or there's a mess hall where you can spend, you can get a bonus to making a connection. You'll make a lot of connections in the mess hall. I will say that. Training facility is also good.
My instinct is the mess hall or the training facility.
Mine too.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So the highest that the Bastion rolled was a 5, which means that we are gonna tick off on the long-term project. This is gonna be a standard project, 6 segments. I got a 5, so we're marking 3 segments on that upgrade clock. There in the corner there. So 3 segments to unlocking the mess hall, or at least the bonus to the mess hall. It's currently under construction. Anyway, sorry to interrupt your downtime actions. JT, I was looking for the make preparations page and saw that. So sorry, you were telling me how you were helping to ready the Bastion.
Yes, spying on the top brass.
Right.
Seeing what I can learn.
Okay. I think that is... So I do think that is going to be the outcome of what you are doing, because you will get to ask some questions, but I don't know if that counts as helping to make ready the Bastion for the next attack, you know?
Yes. Then yeah,
that could be... Sorry.
I think we can maybe spin that as Cogs is looking for sure signs of whichever sort of instance of the next section of this little loop that they're stuck in. Each
I love that.
mission has sort of been preceded by certain particular events that almost sort of guide the pathway just a little bit more.
I think that's fair. So you're basically trying to read the timeline that you're on.
Yes.
Cool. What action would you like to roll for that?
I think analyze makes the most sense.
I would agree.
I only have 1 dot in that at the moment. Okay, cool. That is a 4.
All right, very cool. So I'm going to mark 3 more segments on the readiness track. You are almost out of tier 2. And then you can ask 1 or 2 questions from your list, your gather information list. And this can constitute your spying on the top brass.
Yes. Okay. You know what? I think these 2 might be the most interesting. I'll start with what defies the flow of time.
Ooh. I like that. I like that a lot. What defies the flow of time? What I'm going to say, I think, is that there comes a time in every timeline that you have been to where there is a massive counteroffensive, where it's kind of usually a desperate move, but the Citadel fleet goes on the offensive to try to take out as many of the Leviathans as they possibly can. And it looks different sometimes in different ways. You, since you got to this timeline, have been waiting for evidence of that to start to materialize, so you can kind of figure out which approach they're planning to take, what the plan is. But I think you were starting to get a little antsy because you haven't heard or seen or discovered any evidence that they're doing that in this timeline. Like, even if you peek in on the top brass, even if you try to spy on them, even if you look at files that you're not supposed to look at, you don't see any evidence of like an offensive operation in the books.
Okay. Then this one is more for flavor and maybe just a little bit less to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. I would like to know what is different about Tolu and Toby this time.
Ooh, okay. All right. Interesting. I mean, to be honest, what I'm tempted to say here is you've never run into Tolu before. I think that honestly makes the most sense, is that like maybe you know Tolu from other timelines where Tolu was a journalist or something like that, an investigator maybe. But I don't think you've ever, like, Toby King always pilots Ocean. In this timeline, Tolu Ajaka pilots Ocean.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So not necessarily new information, but I think the context of it is that is a big deal. So those two factors are big deals.
Very, very interesting.
Whether they are good signs for this timeline or bad signs for this timeline is another question. But at the very least, they are different. Cass or Logan? Do either of you have a downtime action in mind?
I do.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the actions that is unique to On the Sea of Stars is that you can bond with an engine as a downtime
Sure
activity. So what I am going to do is my daily activities, not just in my downtime, but like daily I maintain our mechs and other ones, but primarily ours. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm setting my Scarab like drones to clean everything and make sure every mech is properly there's a kitten properly maintained. But where he normally, or where I would normally be very meticulous with everyone else, with A&W, instead of letting the machine, like being my finger on the pulse of everything, I actually enter in the cockpit, allowing my drones to do the most of the work. And I think I'm going to pray. While inside of A&W, I will pray for those that have lost. We've lost, like Reed, and pray that the engines will protect us and what is to come. And I pray for Tulu. I pray for Grace. I pray for Cogs. I pray for Torian. And even Toby. That all of them will be safe. Hoping to reach Anubis and Web of Wet's soul. And their grace will protect everyone.
Okay, I like that a lot. What action do you want to roll for that?
I empathize. It's really the most logical thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that makes total sense.
Trying to. I mean, I'm praying to a god, two of them even.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I did not pray well. Only a 1.
Okay, all right. Interesting. Only a 1. I believe that does still mean you get two links.
Yep.
With your mech.
Yep. Yeah. I don't have a spot for that on the thing because our links page is full, so I'll just write that down personally.
Your links page is full. Oh yeah, it is a personal link.
Yeah.
You mean on your character sheet?
Yeah, on our character sheet, you only have room for 4 people.
Oh yeah, okay, that's what the. Oh, I see. You designated them ahead of time for the different.
Yeah, I figured I was mostly going to bond with my, crew.
That makes total sense. Yeah, that does make total sense. Well, I can easily add another one after this, but sorry, give me 1 second here. He's getting a little punchy, so.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for the ASMR. Okay, that should keep him busy for a while. Bonding with A&W, bonding with Anubis and Wepawet is this common for the chief, I would ask?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's a weird, if you ask Chief matters of faith, he's almost an iconoclast. Mm-hmm. He knows these are gods, or at least what mankind worshipped as gods in our past. But he doesn't worship them. He instead is more, he prays more that the machine will do its job. It's kind of like someone who obsesses over their car and knows to trust it, knows how it feels, and believes that through hell and high water, their vehicle will get them through anything. And he's trying to project that faith in A&W onto all the other engines.
Absolutely. And I think as you pray to Anubis and Webawet, and as you link with your engine to forge that connection, this is pretty standard practice for you, and you feel your connection and your understanding deepen. But it keeps going past the point where it normally would. And you have this strange sensation of hearing and feeling your own prayers to yourself. Because at the end of the day, what it is to sync with an engine is to replace the mind of a god with your own, to become the guiding force for it, connect to the divine spark, and become the consciousness that is behind it. I think you are pulled out of that by an alert going in. I think you were pulled out of that by an alert that starts going off on your panel. Jesus Christ. Sorry, he just jumped up and fully hit his head as hard as he possibly could on the underside of my desk. He hits his head so much.
It's still like rubber, right?
I don't know. I hope so. I've never had a cat that just like hits his head as much as this one. He seems fine though. Anyway, an alert goes off in the panel, like a sort of a frantic, like beep 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 beep, and you look down and you see like drift detected on your console.
I take a deep breath. Allow myself to be centered and become aware that I was going too far and kind of realize this is a little too much. And I open the cockpit and I'm like, I'll be back. And I step out, looking at A and W as I leave. Look at the scarabs that are cleaning up and stitching together and making both of them whole again. You can't take me. Not yet. Someone's gotta make sure these kids survive. You hear that?
It might be just sort of the echoes of your connection fading. But you do, as is so often the case with your particular engine, you kind of feel conflicting responses. You feel patience. But you also feel hunger.
You won't get me yet. And he starts walking away, probably to his quarters.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls out that same flask and he takes another big. Damn.
Just the dregs left after your earlier drinking moment.
It's absolutely empty. It's just habit.
It's just habit. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Cool. Well, you do get those links. So you didn't get nothing. Tryon.
Yeah.
Would you like to take a downtime action?
Am I back in my box?
Do you want to be back in your box? I mean, let me rephrase that. That is where Mason is going to take you, unless you say or do something to the contrary.
How hard would it be to lose Mason?
Ooh, to lose Mason? I mean, you could do it. It'd be a little
Yeah.
tricky, but
Yeah.
he's usually pretty content to like go with
Does
you
he-
places and not stop you from doing things. He just like wants to be there. Like that's pretty
Yeah.
clearly the main point of his assignment.
Which is why I ask whether I'm in my box already or not, because then I want to, like, the alternate plan is how hard is it to get out of the box?
I think getting out of the box is
Hard.
pretty hard. I mean, I guess it's so. Here's the thing. There are layers to this, right? When you get put in the box, it's not hard for you to walk out of the box and go somewhere else. But Mason is
Yeah.
going to go with you. And I would say it's a lot harder to lose Mason coming out of the box than it is to lose him. Like if you're trying to like run from him or trick him or something, it's easier to do when you're outside here.
I want back in the bay.
Ooh. Okay.
So I want to lose Mason. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but
I think that's no. I think that's doable. I think that's totally fine. What do you want to do in the bay? Let me just ask what downtime action it is you're taking.
I want to investigate Cernunnos.
Okay.
Because I've got to. I think at this point, Troyan has caught up. Troyan kind of avoids reflective surfaces, just out of habit. But I think probably leaving the bay or at some point coming into the bay, she clocked the expansion of the veins across her face, and she still sees the little faint golden glow around her pupils from where she ate some of Cernunnos. And then they
Hell yeah.
put an idiot in that cockpit.
Sure.
And she wants to know what they did to it, that they feel confident putting that idiot in that cockpit.
Okay. All right. I think that's fair. Yeah. So what is it that you want to do to help ready the Bastion? Ready the Delphi? And that could be completely unrelated. It could be like this could be the result. What I'm thinking in my head is this could be you bargaining, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have some sort of information about the Purged, about the Leviathans as a whole, something like that, even your own engine that you could trade for, time in the bay, time in the hangar, if you want to.
I think she probably watches from just around the corner as Grace punches Toby and then collapses. She's just doing the math in her head as she and Mason kind of walk back towards Solitary. And
you're doing the sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, you're good. Ask
you're doing the math in your head, you're watching this, it's very satisfying. And I think as you were doing that, Mason is kind of, presumably standing behind you like he always is. But as you are about to turn, because that exchange is wrapping up, you would hear Odin, the man Odin, say from behind you as well, real Spitfire, that one.
To be clear, this is not Win. Or is it Win?
No. Win pilots the engine that was Odin. Odin is a man. You don't know if it's a rank, a code name, what. That's the only thing you've ever heard him called.
But you said he has glowy blue eyes.
He has one
Glow.
glowy blue eye. It's bright electric blue.
Yeah. Reminiscent to how mine are currently glowing a little bit with golden light.
Very different, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Hi,
his
Chop.
his eye doesn't glow. It's just a really pale electric blue.
Yeah. Okay. She'll turn and look at him because I'm sure they've had a few conversations since she's gotten back.
Yeah, I'm sure. He's questioned you, if nothing else. I think what I will say about that, about your past interactions, I think I will say that he seems a lot less interested in you than you would have expected him to. Like you've heard him grill some of the others. You've heard from them the kinds of very intensive prying questions that he has asked. But when he was met with you, it seemed kind of that he was almost dismissive of you, almost saw it as like a waste of time.
Odie.
Operator. You are still an operator, despite your best efforts.
Can't really argue with you. But you put that idiot boy into Carnanos. Why? Who are you hoping he gets killed? Himself?
Well, I am hardly responsible for meeting out
Don't
engine
bullshit
assignments.
me. Yes, you are.
I'm not sure what part of this process you're confused about, operator. He was chosen by his engine.
Did
Selected.
I leave behind for it to choose him? Not sure I did.
Sorry, one more time.
I asked, did I leave enough behind for it to choose him? I'm not sure I did.
Well, I'm not an engineer or a mechanic, but clearly you did. Since it did, in fact, choose him.
I want in the bay. I want unrestricted access to the bay. Mason can come with me. I want to be allowed in the bay whenever I want.
And I understand that. And I understand that you have contributed value to our efforts. I mean, in some ways, you might just be the closest thing we have to a solution. After all, if we can convert these things the way that you seem to have, safely,
Safely. Do you know how long it took for those negotiations to happen? You willing to yeet every single pilot you have into the abyss for 20 years? How long was I gone exactly? Time dilation fucks with the brain.
I think you are aware that your continued future here hinges on you making it safe.
my continued future here hinges very much on how long I'm willing to stay.
You want access to the bay.
I want access to the bay.
In exchange for what?
What do y'all want?
I'm sure you've been entirely cooperative with knowledge that you've picked up during your time away.
I've answered
I'm sure
every
you've shared
question
everything.
asked.
I'm certain you've shared everything that you've learned, everything that could be of an advantage, but if something that you had forgotten, something that slipped your mind, were to come back to you, and you were to share it with me, I might be able to see what I can do. With Lieutenant Mason, of course.
Do you obliterate every corpse? Or do you leave them to float?
It's funny, I rather thought that you would be telling me something, not asking me a question.
I'm going to, but it depends on your answer.
If it can be retrieved, then of course we retrieve it.
I'm not talking about human and engine.
Every Leviathan corpse. No.
You just leave them there?
What would be the alternative? The smallest of them are larger than the Delphi.
And full of so much power.
And we could harvest that power.
Keep the Delphi running for another millennia. Ask me how long I was over there. Actually, take however long you think I was gone here, add about 6 zeros. I look good for my age.
I'd like to hear more about this.
I'd love to go back in that bay.
Two hours a day, supervised.
Unrestricted access.
2 hours a day, supervised, unrestricted.
I get to pick the 2 hours.
He nods as if to concede that point.
All right. And she'll reach out and offer her hand to shake on it.
He will take your hand. Are you doing something weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
She's gonna pull him close like Toby did to Tolu. It wasn't just Leviathans I was consuming out there, so don't fucking cross me.
We have more in common than you think, operator.
I had a feeling.
I might just be the only person on this ship that isn't scared of you.
Oh, good. Now, Will,
So-
real quick, do I know him from before?
No.
Oh.
No, you do not.
He wasn't even like one of the lower ranks of pilots or anything. Okay.
You certainly don't
And he's-
recognize him, and you certainly don't have a name that you could check even if you wanted to. You don't know what his deal is, but as far as you remember, this dude was not around. You don't know where he came from. I'd be
And
cautious
he's
about trying to.
missing an eye? He's fully missing an eye?
No, he has one regular sort of brown plain
Blue.
eye, and then one that is a bright electric blue color.
Okay.
I'd be careful about burning that bridge, operator.
Which one?
People tend to try to kill the things that they're afraid of.
How many of them are afraid of you?
Only the ones that need to be. I'll look forward to speaking about this more. And he will turn and he will walk away. Troyan, what do you want to roll for your readiness check, just so I can tick off some boxes here? Based
I
on
was
that
thinking
interaction.
analyze, but I was also thinking conceal because I think she wants to conceal more of Ati's sentience.
I mean, I honestly think you could make a case for defy, express, or conceal. Just looking at the things that you have dots in.
Yeah. But I think in this having had this conversation with Odin,
Sure.
she wants to hide
Makes sense.
Ati's sentience.
That makes total sense. Roll one die.
I love this dice. It's a 5.
It's a 5. Hell yeah. All right, cool. So we're marking 3 on the readiness track, and that pushes us into tier 3 territory, which means technically tier 3 missions are available to y'all. We'll see what happens before we get into that stage of play. Some things could affect it, but currently tier 3. And you can also ask 1 or 2 questions related to your investigation of the engine of Kiernanos if you want to.
Does it feel like there is enough of Kiernanos left to be an effective engine?
When you lay your hand against the side of it, I mean, you almost kind of feel it recoil because of, the fact that you ate a bunch of it. But currently, no. Like, is there enough spark left that it will recover? Yes. Is there enough spark left that it could have chosen a new pilot on its own? Yeah, maybe. Would it be fully operational at full capacity right now? Absolutely not. But it will heal.
I want to ask it what happened to Reed.
Interesting. Which of your questions? Because Keep in mind that an engine is a divine spark lacking sentience, lacking consciousness. That's where you come in. So that's a pretty cognitive question for it to try to answer.
So essentially, I'm asking, did your pilot die or was your pilot taken from you? Because I have a suspicion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are always, when an engine operator dies, there are always echoes of trauma because these gods already died, as much as gods can die. The divine spark remains, but the consciousness is gone. Their bodies, their brains, their minds, their personalities died. And every time an engine operator dies while synced with them, that's just sort of a repeat of that trauma. You don't feel the echoes of that death in Kiernanos.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. We do have more downtime actions on the board. It's about 10:54. So I do want to be respectful of people's time and ask if we want to try to do a few more with the time that we have left and maybe go over, or do we want to save that for next time and hop in with some more downtime actions?
I'm okay with going next week. Just finishing up.
Next
Cool.
next time.
Or not next
Yeah.
week, but
Yeah.
No, but next 2 weeks, yeah.
159.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably best. So we will pick up with then everybody has one downtime action left except for Tolu, who has 2. So we can all think about what we want to do with those between now and 2 weeks from now, and then we'll get into our mission phase and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much going to do it for us here this week. So thanks, everybody. I had a blast. This was, I feel like we were really, really cooking tonight.
yeah.
Lots of lore happening.
Yeah.
Lots of lore. Lots of
So
lore.
much lore.
I think there's
Lore
always like
heavy.
growing pains, and I feel like we're hitting our stride.
Yeah.
And episode 3, that's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Good for us.
I love this
Good
fucking
for us.
family.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
It makes me so happy.
We're all like, who was mean to Tolu? Instant murder.
100%. Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and I guess JT will go last so that you can plug channel stuff. But Cass, do you want to tell us where people can find you and things?
Yeah. I am Yoda. I can talk today. I am Yoda Almighty on Discord and Blue Sky. You will see me again on Saturday for one of the finishing streams for Lost Caravan's Caravan of Cthulhu Charity Week, benefiting Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. We'll be playing a little Delta Green in the middle of the day. The cast was specifically chosen for, quote, maximum chaos, if that tells you anything. It's me and Mika and JD and Miri and Elsie. It's going to be a lot. Doc is running that one. And then I will be back over on Live from the Apocalypse on the 22nd for the return of Redacted, which is JD's horror game. We're all haunted. It's fun. And then I've kind of got a light end of the month, but I'll be back here on the 29th, and I may be somewhere on the 31st. Unclear. Depends on real life things. But yeah, alternating Thursdays, I'm here and over on Live from the Apocalypse. We're back, baby.
Hell yeah. Fantastic. Izzy. What's
Hello. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I am on Twitter still. I know. I can't quit it. Z_mist, mist with a Y for fantasy reasons. You can find me basically just here, I think, in terms of streaming things right now. So that's like every other Thursday. And then also, if you're curious to hear more of my voice, I do a podcast, a weekly Pathfinder 1E podcast called Pod Against the Machine. You can find us on Twitter and also anywhere you cast your pods. That's all for me.
Hell yeah. We're all in the same boat as far as that Twitter sinking ship is concerned, unfortunately.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Logan.
Hello. My name is Logan, also known as Logan the GM. You can catch me on most social medias under that handle. You can catch me here every other Thursday where I play Chief. You saw him. He's a man who likes his drink, I guess. We established that today. That's his new lore. And he prays. You can also catch me on Apochromatic Unlimited. We are an all POC TTRPG collective. Our focus is raising up the voices of all POC within the TTRPG space. For that, I am currently producing. It's a lot of things, but producing a pre-recorded actual play called The Walled Garden: Knights of Twilight. It's an isekai, it's fantasy, it uses giant robots, and it also uses this exact same system and playset, except it will be different. So keep an eye out for that. I have no ETA because I'm in the last throes of casting. So it turns out when 42 people send you through.
Yeah.
Outside of that, you can also catch me on. We just wrapped up our first season. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts. I also play this game. I guess Girl by Moonlight is my system now. It's just how it happened. But in that, I played Wolfsbane, which is Vegeta if he was a twink. Someone actually pointed out to me that Vegeta basically is a twink because he's tiny and he wears a shirt that says Bad Man on it, and I agree.
I want that shirt so bad.
I want it. I really just want a pink shirt that says Bad Man right on the back of it. And you know what? That's probably all I need to say. Take it easy, folks.
And I think some of this is going to overlap, but Jen, what's up?
Oh, some of it is gonna overlap. It's okay though. Hi, I'm Youngles, aka Jen, aka apparently my niche has been narrowed down to charming weirdo in the TTRPG space. So if you like charming weirdo things, I am your person. I was nominated for NJ Webfest along with Itaewon by Night. So if you haven't seen Itaewon by Night, please go check it out. Super cool, excited about that kind of. And then I'm a really awkward person. And I'm recording something really cool coming up that I can't talk about yet. I have something else coming out that I can't talk about yet, I don't think. And then we have a cool thing that we did that we're both on, and that's called Voices in the Woods. And if you haven't listened to that first episode, which I am also a part of, not only is it full of charming weirdos, but it's full of some really cool music, and it's super easy to listen to. And I've been raving about this all week because it feels like you're listening. It feels like you're sitting in your college dorm room, just listening to indie college radio. Like, it legit feels like that. So if that's your vibe, I highly suggest you go check it out. I just warn you, it's gonna make you want to watch or listen to the rest of the rest of the show that it's attached to, because it's attached to another show. But it's really good, and you should go listen to it. And Will did a bunch of work on it, and that was awesome. So it's your turn now.
Yeah. It is my turn now. I'm doing things again. I was not doing things for a while, not doing as many things, and now they're all happening at the same time, which is what always happens, because you sign up for things when you have downtime, and then suddenly they all hit at the same time. Sunday night over at Live from the Apocalypse, twitch.tv/Live from the Apocalypse, we're going to be recording some new episodes of Academy H, our stalled Masks actual play podcast that will start releasing in podcast form again very soon, but we're still recording new episodes, and we record those live every other Sunday so that people can hang out with us and get a a sneak peek and see how I hate this phrase, the sausage gets made, and also donate to Doctors Without Borders, who we are in stretch goals, raising charity for. We hit our $2,000 fundraising goal, and we're going to be pivoting to a new charity cause to benefit with all of our content moving forward. But for now, we're still raising some money for Doctors Without Borders. So if you want to show up and check that out on Sunday and donate if you can, that would be lovely. The 19th, Monday, I will be over at Folk and Myth playing a game of Vaesen, but flavored like the TV show Penny Dreadful. I will be playing Madeline Usher of Fall of the House of Usher fame. I won't give too much away, but I'm going to be real weird with it. So maybe check that out. I will be playing one of my two character archetypes, which is asexual goth baddie. What else is happening this week? I don't think I have anything else I have to talk about except for Saturday, on the 24th Saturday. So next Saturday, about a week from today, is Class Reunion, the 5e D&D homebrew game about a group of high school students from Ohio who've been trapped in a fantasy world for 10 years. That's also over in Live from the Apocalypse. It's also raising money for charity. Check it out. But yeah, also listen to Voices in the Wood. First episode came out on Wednesday, I believe. The second episode is coming out this coming Wednesday. I am a performer in that one. I'm pretty sure that's the one that I am a performer in, but also I co-produced it behind the scenes and did a lot of work on that, and in particular did most of the music stuff for this podcast. I didn't make the music, but I found the bands and talked to them and got their go-ahead and compiled it all together and all that good stuff. So if you like the music on there, cool. We have that in common. Yeah, it's a great show. You should listen to it. Everybody did an amazing job. We worked very hard on it. We're also talking about putting out some very cool new merch eventually for it. There's a bunch of merch that's already out. We just started talking today about putting out some other cool themed merch. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll toss it over to JT.
Hi, I'm JT. My pronouns are they, them. I'm at WeebGeet all over the internet. I'm also at Entropy Emporium all over the internet because I run the socials for this channel. That is because it is technically my channel, although I would argue that it's everybody's channel on account of I run exactly one show on it, and all the extra work I do is just posting, which is, at least to me, the least I could do, because I get to spend a lot of my time with some of the coolest people I've ever met. And that goes for everybody at this table, for the record. And everybody else that I know. I am just I'm very lucky moment tonight and right now, but I need to promo stuff. So you can find me next Wednesday and every other Wednesday, probably through the end of the year, on High Shelf Collective, running the Beacons of Farlight. It is a fucked up 40k inspired post-apocalyptic setting that I created, that I'm very proud of, and I love it a lot. We are streaming the final episode of our mini arc between the arcs, Beacon's Royal Flush, which is the Godfather if it was also Succession. The players will be fighting for taking the place of the Dawn of the Family of Crime. You can find me on the alternative Wednesday as Caldwell in the Lost Caravans Nova series. He is a sad robot with maybe some friends. We have yet to determine. And then you can find me here for the next 2 days, and also in a bunch of other stuff very soon. But Entropy Emporium, every other Tuesday, you can catch They Call Us Villains. It is a Masks horror actual play run by JD from over at LFTA. It's very fun. They're very feral all the time in chat, so if you want to see that, come hang out in Discord. And then every other Thursday is this, God Complex. Just saw it. It's Go by Moonlight. It's Pacific Rim and Neon Genesis Evangelion. And whatever else has come out of Will's brain about it. And whatever else comes out of our brain about it now. As we sort of get our stride. Fridays, every other Friday, is the Weird Wild War. That is a 5e homebrew campaign that I am running for a really nifty table of people over there, so come check us out tomorrow. And then Saturday is Blooming in the Rot, an Invisible Sun actual play run by Kian. That I am also in. Come check that out. And then on Monday, for the next 2 or 3 Mondays, I think, we have our Brindlewood Bay anthology series that Kian set up, and then after Brindlewood Bay is public access, which both casts are very cool, and I've actually had no involvement in the creation of this one, so go check that out, support them as they learn how to do stuff. And then next Saturday you can find me on High Shelf for a Morkborg one shot. That is everything. I'm working on something really cool. I've really hit an inspiration stride for it, but I can't announce it yet because it doesn't have a name. But that's everything. We're gonna raid over to Tales from the Table Studio. They're playing Mutants and Masterminds over there. Personal favorite system of mine. But we're gonna go support the Lion's Heart Mutual Aid Fund and their little game they're playing tonight to raise money for it. So show them lots of love. And have a wonderful evening, everybody. Be good people. Show appreciation to the people in your life that you love. And have a good night and a good time. We will see you later.
Have a good night.